Hi there, my name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text and we tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree or the kids' room or the junk drawer or the garage. You know how we work it. I am so happy that you are here. Thanks for being a partner in this ministry and taking your time to watch this. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so on YouTube. It helps. And all right, this is for the narrative lectionary. We're still in the series for 1 Peter, and today we're talking about being stewards of God's grace, about sharing God's love, about clothing ourselves with this amazing gift that God has given us, or being clothed as God pours God's grace upon us. So, I like this idea that sharing grace isn't a zero-sum game. That sharing grace, the more we share, the more we feel, the more we give. This idea of love is just, we are called, I use that word just. It's more than just grace. It's amazing grace. And the more we give, the more we experience. So, the springboard for this idea, the springboard for this children's sermon, is you need a spool of thread and a needle. And the needle is to help you get the thread. Now, the way you're going to do it is you're going to take that spool of thread and you're going to have your small little, your end, and you're going to put your needle in it. And if you wear an alb, you're going to put the spool of thread in a pocket, or it can be all the way down in your pants pocket, or a pocket. This gives us a reason for have pockets, right? Yeah, so we can put the spool of thread in a pocket. Then we're going to take the thread that's on the needle, and you're going to stick the needle through the alb or through your shirt so that you've got a little bit of the thread just laying there. So if you have a black clergy shirt, you're going to want a white thread. If you have a red clergy shirt, you want another color that that shows up. If you have a blue clergy shirt, I've got a light blue one, I might have a black thread. Use the black thread. So you've got it pulled out to where it's just laying right there. And according to everybody else, now you remove the needle, so you just have a piece of thread that's hanging there. And you might want to pull out a little bit more, like this much or so it doesn't pull back in. You could even knot the end, like pull it out a little bit, knot a little bit here, and so that it's laying on your shirt, but it can't get pulled back in. It's all right. So you've got that there. So the idea is, so you've got the spool of thread, a little piece of thread running up out of your alb or your shirt, laying right there. And you're talking to the kids about how God's love is amazing. God's grace is over the top. And you look down and you're like, wait, sorry, 1 second. I get thread, I thought maybe this is a cat hair. I know, and you pull, and it's attached to the spool, so it's gonna let some thread out, and you pull, and you pull, and you pull, and the thing just keeps pulling, and then you can go, this reminds me of God's love and God's grace. The more I give, the more I can see it easily around me. And pull. And that's the springboard. That's the idea. This is based on a practical joke where you can have a piece of thread, you've got it there, and you're in a grocery store, or someone in your household, someone in your family is like, you've got a little hair there. Let me help you. And they reach up and they pull, and the looks that you get from that alone is pretty amazing. It's pretty fun. But that's the springboard, that it's God's grace over an abundance, and God's grace again and again and again overflowing as we are stewards of God's grace, and we are clothed, and we are with God's love, and we share that with everyone. So, all right, hope that can be a springboard for your own thinking around your children's sermon. Thanks a lot for my pantomiming, and things like that. But I think it makes sense. And anyway, yeah, there we are. That's the springboard. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. Peace.